So in our third installment of the row and pull down series, I want to talk about how far should you actually pull the bar. You'll hear a lot of people talking about moving a muscle just through its functional range of motion, and I agree with that, but that can be taken a little bit out of context, where a lot of people will not pull the bar as far as they should in order to stay in that functional range, and they're not respecting how dynamic the body's supposed to be. But then you can also go the extreme opposite side to that and pull it too far. So what I normally see, especially with shoulder pathologies and neck and upper back pathologies, is that bodybuilders and people that have been training for a long time tend to overdo the exercise. So what I normally see is that people will pull to the point where they've actually achieved full shortening of a muscle, and then in order to get more range of motion, they'll start rounding the back and going into internal rotation. So when you do this, it destabilizes the scapula, and often what I see is an overactive teres major. When teres major gets overactive, in a lot of cases it can inhibit the serratus anterior, which can cause a lot of winging of the scapula, and can also cause issues with people achieving shoulder flexion, so they can't actually get their arm overhead without also bringing their rib cage up with them. So when we're doing rows, we want to make sure that when I'm pulling this back, that is my full range, and everyone's range will be a little bit different. Okay, some people will be here, okay, some people will be further back. But what we don't want to do is, if we don't have the strength and the mobility to get further than that, that's where we limit ourselves for now, and we have to figure out what's the main problem that we can't finish out the movement. The worst thing you can do is try to finish the movement by pulling and then going into internal rotation and leaning forward and bending into it, okay? What ends up happening inherently is that it pulls the arm into extended, internally rotated place, which then also destabilizes the scapula and ruins your ability to move properly. So then when you're doing other movements like overhead presses, then you have to lean back because your arm won't glide through the socket and can't get the range of motion, and that can cause a host of other issues as well. When we're looking at things like the pull down, we want to think about pulling it straight down and having the tips of the elbows toward the ground. We don't want to pull and then really pull the elbows back. When you pull the elbows back, it causes the same issue. So if I'm pulling down and I pull down, that's it. That's all I need to do. I don't need to touch my nipples to the bar. Okay? Now, there will be people that have the strength and mobility to do that, but it's not for everybody. So, and it may or may not be something you want to progress to, but if you're pulling here and that's it, you're doing yourself a disservice by pulling down here, trying to get an excessive range of motion and you're not ready for. And for God's sake, people, stop doing pull downs like this, okay? I see this all the time in my gym. That's not a great exercise. So please, if you train at our gym, please stop it.